Hey guys, today we're going to be going over the 2018 Developer Skills Report by HackerRank. It's a pretty cool blog of theirs where they have basically 40,000 developers give their insights, a little bit about themselves, their history, what trends they like, what's going on from their perspective in the industry, and it paints a picture of the marketplace of devs and where people started. And I think it's really healthy to take a look at these things because sometimes people think that, oh, wow, 99% of the population are boy geniuses who start coding at 9. And so we get a little bit of insight of what the actual truth of it all is. So let's go ahead and check it out. Hey guys, I want to thank Dev Mountain for sponsoring this video, and if you're interested in checking out their boot camp, they recently released the Software QA online course. Before it was only on campus, which isn't really an issue because they provide housing with tuition, which is a great way to save on monthly rent as well as go to a boot camp and learn some new things. But if you can't do that, they have their online version as well. You can check them out at devmountain.com. All right, so if you're not familiar with HackerRank, they are a algorithm site, one of many. They're one of the more popular ones. Just for a little bit of background, and according to them, so they have 3.2 million people using HackerRank, and they've helped to fund 2% of all, not fund. They hire 2% of all devs, which sounds like a very large number because if you don't know, a lot of companies will use HackerRank algorithms to challenge you, and so they'll send you to a problem in HackerRank they've predetermined, said, hey, please solve this, and then we'll move forward in the world of our job hiring practices is what I'm trying to say. It's still early, so my words are hard. So 1 in 4 developers started coding before they could drive. That's kind of crazy if you ask me. So when did you start coding? You can see here that this is 16 to 20 is 49.6%. So a lot of people first start coding, as they were becoming young adults. This doesn't mean that it's something they stuck with. 5%, 5 to 10. Good for you. So this is the boy genius range, I would say. So this is all only, don't think that no one started coding after 20. This is just about people who started coding younger than everyone else. But you can see even here, the majority of people are 16 to 20, which you're an adult at that point. But still pretty high, if you ask me. Current age versus age started coding. You get this nice little sort of, hey, what are you doing here? And you'll see that the largest group of people are between 11 and, what is this one saying again? So almost half of all developers, 47%, between the ages of 45 and 54, started coding when they were 16 years old. That's remarkably high. That is quite high. The thing that I would sort of be interested in is do they look like, because the first time I started to code, where I spent a little bit of time coding with like HTML, CSS, and some very basic JavaScript, I was like 15, maybe 12. But I didn't pick it up again until I was like 22, 23. So I wonder how that goes. Apparently UK though is killing it with the highest share of developers coding between 5 and 10. Which I can't say is too surprising knowing what I know about my analytics, is that UK is like the 3rd most watched area, because clearly they're making good decisions because they are learning to code and watching my channel. So good on you, UK. So people ask, like, would I be a good fit to be a developer? And you'll see here that 73% of developers consider themselves self-taught, and that sort of needs to set a mindset of what to expect as being a developer, and what you can get out of it is that you need to constantly be learning, and you need to enjoy that. Otherwise, you're gonna have a very hard time being successful in this field. And you can see below it, school or university. I don't know if accelerated training is like boot camps, but I think that might be what that is. Here we go with the real truth right here. All right. New generations are opting for YouTube to self-teach over books. So Which of these platforms do you use to learn how to code? Stack Overflow, always. I think Stack Overflow, you don't really use Stack Overflow to learn. No one goes on Stack Overflow and says, I'm going to learn to code. It's more like I'm learning to code, and Stack Overflow is going to continue to help me along the way so that I don't give up. That's how I look at Stack Overflow. So YouTube is number 2, which is really impressive. I think an excellent choice. YouTube is one of the, once you find some good channels that can keep you motivated, that work with your style and your learning path, you get exposed to quite a bit, which is nice. And you have the option of investing very little other than maybe some time to find that one. You don't have to buy 100 courses. Books are, I'm always surprised when I see books right here as so high up, because I would have said MOOC and online tutorials over that. Competitive coding sites, I'm a big fan of those. Academic papers, I don't even think it's 20%, but this is what these people say. I just don't believe it. But you know what? Maybe I'll change my tune later on. So developers are learning languages employers are looking for the most. So I say this. Oops. I say this quite a bit about, what should you learn? It's all fun and dandy to learn what you want to and enjoy, and some things are more demand than others. But if your objective is to stay relevant, be easily hireable, continue to grow, and have higher salaries, what you need to learn is what employers are looking for. And you can see here that JavaScript's still the king. I'm surprised to see Java so high up. I felt like Java was making a slow decline, but apparently not so much. Python's been jumping, and you can see that they can break it up here. So technology, it's probably all going to be somewhat similar, but more or less it's going to be pretty close. You can play around with it. I'll put the link, of course, in the description below. The biggest gap in knowledge was JavaScript frameworks. So some of you guys are asking me like, oh man, what should I learn? This and that. For a framework, for JavaScript framework. And my advice has been, although there are a good amount of Angular jobs, React has a huge gap and it has been exploding, and so your barrier of entry is going to be lower. And what we can see from our looking here is that the amount of jobs in React have about, compared to the, you're talking about almost double here. So there's quite a few of React jobs. Express.js, too many people. But you can also see with, where's the one? People ask about Vue. Vue has more jobs than there are people who for the role. So keep that in mind when you are looking, that there's less jobs in Vue, and I would still recommend you go the React route because there are more jobs. You're going to open yourself up to more opportunities. That for the most part, as long as you're spending time learning something where there is a clear gap between the employer's need and the people with the skills, it's a good thing to learn. What core competencies do employees look for? So this is some basic stuff, but it gives you an idea. And the way that I would use this stat right here is when I would write a cover letter, I would include these keywords in here, and I'd probably put them in bold. Excel at problem solving, programming language proficiency. Somehow I would say, I wouldn't say programming language proficiency, but extremely proficient in JavaScript and TypeScript and debugging, etc., system design, performance optimization, code review capability. So these are all things that you should have skills related to it. You should be able to debug your code. You should be proficient in your language of choice. You should definitely be able to problem solve. System design is maybe more architecture, so you should understand how to architect out a project, even if it's a small one. How to optimize code, what this means even for most applications. Be comfortable doing code reviews, having your code reviewed. Testing, got to be comfortable testing. Proficient in frameworks of choice. Database design, this is going to be more relevant to back-end devs and front-end devs like myself, but you still need to know how to work with databases and understand how data models communicate, how your data model is going to be interpreted by the backend. And then code-based navigation, just being able to read through existing code bases. Oftentimes I say you don't write code for yourself as a developer, you write code for the next group of devs who have to maintain it. And so that's part of that code-based navigation. What do employers look for by company size? So experience for all sizes, portfolio, education. So for those of you who think like, oh, hey, this has no, education has no, is the one-all, be-all. It's not the case, right? You have experience and portfolio, training, boot camps, personal brand, of course. And you can see it's slightly going to vary, but I think it's probably going to be pretty close to the same. And you can see the larger companies put a little bit more value on some of the items, but just keep it in mind. Everything's a spectrum on your resume about what's important and how it helps you. What qualifications do execs place? Well, the people who are the highest up in the ladder appreciate your portfolio, previous work experience, years of experience, then education, training, personal brand. Something to keep in mind. Developers flock to languages made popular by tech giants. So this is kind of, you can see right here that what developers are planning to learn, Go, which has been kind of a different way of is a different way to support what you want to do in Node. Sometimes Node is an asynchronous sort of backend, and sometimes Go gives us a synchronous way of doing things. I haven't had a chance to work with it, but the people who I know have worked with Go absolutely love it. You can see TypeScript is growing quite fast, even more so than JavaScript for what people are looking for. Probably because Microsoft it's open source. Microsoft maintains it, updates it. They have Visual Studio Code that they maintain for it as well, and Google maintains Angular. So it's a nice sort of, we got a couple different giants, if you will, working through it. Python is the one. Yes, indeed. So I've been telling people for a short little while. Let's go ahead and get this whole. Can we just get it all in one? There we go. So Python is what languages do developers prefer by age? And so you can see it's very popular from 35 on, and then you could see anyone who is 35 and younger understands the disgustingness of PHP. This is where I get some hate in the video for making fun of PHP. But you can see JavaScript, TypeScript is going, keep growing. Python is an excellent thing to learn right now. Which frameworks do developers prefer by age? You can see the same thing here, is that pretty much first 3 or 4 are going to be Node, React, Express. These are ones that a lot of people like. React Native, Ruby on Rails, Vue. You check it out. Frameworks you don't need to worry too much about. Assessing skills proves to be the biggest hiring challenge, more than the talent shortage. I've been saying this for so long, is that there is not a developer shortage. There is a shortage of good developers. There is a very big difference. The $10 an hour developer, we got plenty of those in the space. What we need are the $40, $50, $60 hour developers, $30 hour developers, $25 if you're just getting started. But what's needed is good developers. And so, the biggest challenge to getting good talent is how to assess to find out if they are good developers. Of course, it takes a time-consuming, it takes a process. I've had interviews where it's a 4-hour. Not only did I have 2-3 phone calls, one with the recruiter, then one with the hiring manager, then one with the the people I'd be working with. After that, you have a 4-hour interview process where like, yo, come on site, meet us, or maybe do it virtual, and we're gonna do some algorithm problems. We're gonna talk to you a little bit, see if you're gonna be a good fit for the team, see if you have the soft skills to see if you're a team player and you want to work together. We want to work with you. You know, that's a very time-consuming process. When someone sits down with 4 other people for 4 hours, you're taking half a day of their time. It's rough. Not enough diverse candidates, not enough talent. Calibrating the job description, competition from other companies. So we all know we can get sniped off. You know, my advice to companies, and this is a selfish thing, you could say, but at the end of the day, you should pay your developers so much that, you know, other companies won't snipe them away for $5,000 more. You know, people don't leave jobs for $5,000 more. They leave for $15,000 or $20,000 more. And so if you want to keep your developers, you got to cut the check. It's that simple. So what assessment tools do employers use much? They do resume screenings, logic problems like through HackerRank. Referrals are a great way. So if you've worked with other devs, obviously you can speak to that and say, you know, this guy's good, bring him on. Remote live interviewing tools, personality tests. I haven't had any personality tests, but that's very, very interesting. Work-life balance beats perks. So what do candidates value most when job searching? I ask 2 questions now. When they say, oh, do you have any questions for us? I ask, first off, do you have any side projects? Because I want to see if the developers are as passionate as me, because that's what I want to work with. I want to work with devs who are passionate, learning, continuing to grind, even though they don't have to, because I'm continuing to grow, continuing to grind. I also ask, what's the work-life balance like? Because I'll be honest, man, I'll show up on game day, but I'm expecting to work 40 hours a week because I work to live. I don't live to work. And those are important questions to ask, and it's usually pretty easy to see. And a lot of times they'll tell you straight up if, sometimes we have the next 6 months are going to be hectic. We're going to do this and that. And if they're already saying that, it ain't the place for me. So good work-life balance is what people value. Professional growth and learning, compensation, smart people team. So I'm sounding like a basic dev right now, because this is I basically hit 3 of these, or 4, I guess. Company culture, interesting problems to solve. Pretty much all the normal stuff you would expect. Flexible work hours are great for a lot of people. So this is one of the things where I don't really care. I don't have any kids. I prefer just going in the same time every day. But I will say that as a dev, I've had things where, hey, I got to run to the doctors. I got to go, do whatever. Orthodontist, your boy's got braces. I got to go do that. And it's never a problem. I go, come back 3 hours later, make up the time. So I would say in that aspect, flexible work hours are great. But I do have many coworkers who work remote 1 day a week, or they do 4 10-hour shifts and they have a 3-day weekend. So that's a very common thing. And something that I probably would, if I could get them to sign off on 3 13-hour shifts, have 4 days off, your boy be in there just coding. I'd get projects done in 3 days. It'd be amazing. But I 1 day I may go to 4 10-hour shifts. But you can see here, what's good. Just having that flexible work hours. People have kids, need to do stuff. Remote working, vacation time, PTO benefits, all that sort of stuff. Professional growth for students specifically is very important. When you're coming out of college, you don't know dick. You haven't learned anything really relevant, and you haven't worked in the workplace. That's not to say that you don't know how to code, but you probably don't. And it's academic life is much different than the realities of the world, and so it's good that hopefully from that standpoint, students are looking to continue to grow, continue to work with smart people so they can pick up smart people habits, right? Vim for the win. Get out of here, dude. I don't believe this. I don't believe this for a second. Somehow this shit was rigged. Are you telling me that this many people are using Vim? VS Code, though. Number 3. Founders are 3 times more likely to have coded before 10. That makes sense. So if you've been coding, if you start a software related company, and pretty much every company that gets started nowadays is going to have some sort of software aspect of it. You know, I could see that. 67%. I'm calling bullshit on this. This shit, I don't believe it. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you found it insightful. I always enjoy checking out these HackerRank videos. And if you like it, don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know when I go live next. And you know, I'll do some more of these in the future. I appreciate you watching. See you next time. Bye. All right. So Felix asks. So it's a great video. I know, baby. All right, no, thank you. What are your thoughts on having a HackerRank account on your resume? Is it worth the time invested getting ranked on that? Do recruiters look at that? I think it's an excellent idea, and not just this is just a coincidence that we have a video from HackerRank, but I will say algorithms sites in general. So I used to put my CodeFights rank on there. The reason for it is a conversation starter. It shows that you're learning and growing, and so people say, you know, what's this CodeFights thing you have in your project? It says you're ranked Soldier 2 or whatnot, and that gives you an opportunity to explain yourself. Say, look, it's an algorithm site. I use it to stay sharp, stay fresh, continue to learn, continue to think like a developer, and continue to grind, really. And it shows that characteristic of what they're learning, and not only that, the value that you get out of just studying through it. You know, I've blown away technical interviews where I've knocked them out. They've made offers the same day because I was able to just, you know, the problem was nothing to me, while I've had people come in to be interviewed for roles with 15 years experience and they can't do FizzBuzz or something like that. So I think there's a lot of value not only in doing it, but you can put it on your resume as well. And it's going to take up 1 line in the project section, maybe 2. So I think you'll have plenty of space to add it there. I want to thank our sponsor, TemplateMonster.com. Not only can you buy templates, PowerPoints, resumes, anything that you can think of, portfolio sites, you can also sell yours on their platform and earn a nice side income. There's a link in the description below to check them out at TemplateMonster.com.